Episode 144, Mom's Basement MMA. I am your host, Tyler Little. I am the fucking man. I am almost a brown belt in Tapology. So that means I'm not one to be fucked with. And because I'm a brown belt in Tapology, you guys know that I know who's on the up and up. And it just so happens to be that the color of my belt is the last name of my guest, Jared Brown. How are you doing, man? Always good to see you.
Excellent. I'm doing excellent.
So because I am a Tapology brown belt, I'm a pretty big fucking deal now. You know that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm coming over. I'm taking over the scene. Ariel Hawani, he can fucking get it. I'm ready to fight him. For real, I really want to fight him because I think he's a little bitch. He's a snake. I want to fight him. I figure I go to your gym for a little bit, Jared, and I'll be in good hands. And maybe I can emulate a couple things that you do. And I think we can put them to sleep together. It'd be a good selling point for both of us.
For sure. Just pay up front, 4, 7, 8, 9, 12 months of training. We'll get you in there. I'll cut you a good deal.
We're good. Jared, I wanted to ask you about your gym specifically because you are in a really unique position. The last time that we had you on the show, you were talking about, I'm going into business. I'm going to start up my own gym. It's something that's really important to me. And I talk to fighters all over the world. And that's something that almost all of them aspire to do one day. They're like, yeah, I want to get my ducks in a row. I want to be able to do that. Because the idea of having clients come to me when I'm already in a place that I have to be in 50, 60 hours a week anyway, that's freaking perfect. It's a way that I can, make some money and it's a way I can keep the lights on. I just wanted to ask you, how has it been in the past 10 or 12 months since I last talked to you with your gym getting started up?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been, it's definitely a dream come true. Definitely a lot of hard work, but it's like the most rewarding thing that you could do. And I'm lucky. I'm lucky enough to where I didn't have to start my own academy. I purchased it from my instructor, my coach. He got injured. He had to, take some time away from training and stuff, a pretty serious injury. Mm-hmm. And so he was, needed a way to, sort of get out of it. And I was looking to get into it. So it just worked out perfectly that way. And then also, it's what I do. I'm a professional martial artist, first. That's what I am. I'm a fighter second.
I wanted to ask you, Jared, being as you're doing what so many people aspire to do. I'm not talking about the fighting thing. I'm talking about being an entrepreneur, owning your own gym. How difficult has that been in the current economic climate? Because we have people that are having to reel back, people that are having to make some cuts because times are tough right now. Is there something that you've learned that you could just kind of tell people that are looking to make the jump to being their own business owner?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about being your own business owner, I guess it would kind of depend on the business that you want to start. But I think from a martial arts standpoint, people nowadays are more serious than ever to learn how to protect themselves, with the way everything is going nowadays. And if you don't have that sense of urgency about you, you should. And not because I run a martial arts academy, because no one's coming. Look at kind of what's gone on in the country. No one's coming to save you. You better learn how to save yourself. That's what I spent all last night doing was I was switching my go bag or my bug out bag, whatever, people want to call it out there. Mm-hmm. I switched it all over to kind of my summer bag, stuff like that. So, I mean, no one's coming for you. Learn how to defend yourself.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you kind of have I don't know. It's kind of scary in a way where it's not only that, not only are people not coming, but the people that are around you, they're not going to help either. They're just going to pull out their phone and record you getting your ass whipped. Sure. So it's one of those things where it's it's just kind of something to be mindful of. One of the things I wanted to kind of ask you is, I'm sure you have a lot of people that go to you. I'm sure you have a lot of clients, a lot of students. For people who aren't in Oklahoma, talk to me a little bit you being like the teacher, me being the student, like what are some things that I should be looking for if I want to join up a gym in my area? Like, because nobody wants to end up in a Rex Kwando bullshit kind of place. Everyone wants to look for like a reputable place to go to where they can learn to defend themselves. Like, not necessarily be like a big bad like prize fighter like you, but hey, man, I'm fat. I'm looking to get in shape. Like, what can I do? What are some things that I should be looking for?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, you know, don't go join a fight gym. You're not training to become an MMA fighter. MMA fighting and self-defense are two different things. Go find somebody, an older guy who's been around the block a little bit, has a serious martial arts background, not some guy that trains, two basic fundamental arts. Find somebody that really understands martial arts, and a place that has a good family type environment. Usually places with a good family environment that's what their focus is. They're focused on training people for the streets and training people that really defend themselves. You go into these fight gyms and stuff, which there's nothing wrong with these places, but they're training a sport. MMA is a sport.
Right.
It's not defending yourself on the street. It's not handling a weapon. It's not all that stuff. So, it's different. It's different. And if you can find a place that does both, that's great too, because, you can really get some good training in with fighters. Fighters have good insights on, the mental side of fighting, and, and then again, it's all about reps, whether you don't have a place like that at all, or whether it's just getting some equipment and trying to get as much work in as you can. You got to get work in. It's, whether it's throwing jab cross hook on the bag, or it's, run and reload on your pistols in AR or whatever it is. You got to get reps in. So start training today.
Yeah, definitely start training today. And that was like one of the you're kind of like touching into a space that I've always kind of wondered about. I see them pop up all over the place. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but you see all these like UFC gyms that are showing up all over the place. And I'm like, that's either really good marketing, but like as far as quality of instructions concerned, I don't know like what that is. If it's just like them trying to make a buck off like the UFC name, like I pay to be affiliated so I can say UFC and put it on my sign, but like I wonder if it's crappy or not. And that's no shade on anybody who is affiliated with a gym like that, but it's just me. Like I'm a skeptical kind of piece of shit, and I always ask that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and plus like well,
go ahead, let it out, and we can edit it out later if it's too mean.
Yeah, it's just kind of like things aren't cool, like the UFC like logo, and like wearing like UFC stuff around, like it's cool if you're in the UFC, but if not, it's kind of lame.
Yeah,
in a way,
it is.
And so like I don't know, it's a I don't know if I don't know.
Yeah,
we don't have any here. I've never been to one, so I don't know the ins and outs of them and stuff, but we do have a couple of like title boxing gyms, and I know they're more of like, come in, we put you kind of through a hit workout type of situation, and then you're out of here, so it's more of like a fitness based situation, which is, okay, I guess, if you're just looking to get in shape, right. But, real serious training is different. If to answer your question more clearly, the people out there that are looking to go train, find a solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor, find solid Muay Thai, find solid boxing, find somebody who's got some, weapon system, whether it's Kali Eskrama, some sort of Filipino martial arts. The Filipino martial arts they've been training weapon systems for, long time. Find Filipino martial arts, people under the Eno Santo Academy, and then, just have a good bullshit radar. When you talk to people, ask them serious questions, interview them like you're interviewing them for a job, because you're about to put your life in their hands essentially. And if not that, you're going to put a decent amount of money in their hands. So
do you have any opinion on Krav Maga?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Krav Maga, and it's not, I never, even with some of the arts, you see like the McDojo stuff and stuff like that, I never get into like that art doesn't work battle and stuff like that, because I think what martial arts is, there's something to take away from whatever you're training, whether it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, Aikido, whatever it is, there's something that you can take away from that art and apply it to what you're doing already and make it work for you. That's a Bruce Lee philosophy.
Right.
So, do I think Krav Maga probably has some good stuff in it? Yeah, absolutely. Do I think that it is, this one solution for every situation, kind of how they sell it to be, like that you're going to be the most deadly man in the world if you train it? No, I don't. So, train everything, train as much as you can, go train everywhere that you can, that's
speaking of training, like, do you have any AMIs that are just getting started up, getting ready to make a debut that you coach that have joined your gym recently? Because I know in your neck of the woods, it's hard for them to like get their names out. You're talking about fighting in a really small place. Can you talk about some of the fighters that you're working with right now?
Yeah, so I actually am not. I really don't like most fighters. Sure. I'm not really a fight coach. I will train guys that want to fight, that are serious, but one of my requirements is you have to buy into our system. We have a very extensive system with our striking, where our curriculum and our structure is based around building instructors. That's what we want to do. We want to create solid martial artists and make sure we're creating solid people. And then we want to turn those people into instructors. And if those people want to compete, that's awesome. I want to push them to do that. And I want them to be successful and everything like that. But I don't like most fighters. Most fighters have egos. Most fighters just want to do what's best for them. And I understand that being a fighter. I understand that completely 100%. But I'm very specific and I'm very picky about who I let fight and compete underneath me. And a lot of it comes down to just your character. But yes, I do have one guy, my best buddy and my roommate, and then also one of my instructors at my gym. His name's Michael Dugan. He comes from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, but he's been training off and on at my academy for a long time. He was in the military, but he's 2-0 now, 3-0, 2-0, wow. About to be 3-0. He'll be 3-0 in July.
It's got to be like an experience, like when you're in a coaching mindset, getting these guys ready for their bouts, and then like fight day comes, like the fighters like you that have any involvement in that whatsoever. It's like, here's what I hear time and time again. It's like, bro, I'm like shitting bricks. I'm so nervous for their fights, but for my fights, I'm like, cool. It's like, yeah, whatever. But like for their fights, it's like, it's way more fucking stressful. Is that the case for you too?
Yeah, dude, I'm usually cool as a cucumber before a fight. The couple of days leading up to a fight, to weigh in, a little nervous and stuff. But once you get your hands wrapped, I'm squared away. But yeah, for him, man, dude, I don't even like thinking about it. Oh my gosh, it makes my legs start shaking. My palms just started sweating.
Yeah, like, is it the feeling of like helplessness? Like,
yes, you have no control. You got no control. You got no say so in what goes on in there.
And I have to imagine, like, it's one of those things where just pretending I'm you, like if I'm in a role like that, it's like, okay, you can't get like too high, you can't get too low. You kind of have to like maintain this like even keel. So if your buddy gets 10-8'd in the first round, right? He's battered and fucking bloody. Like, you can't tell him he's a piece of shit. You gotta be like, okay, dude, that's all that guy had. He's tired now. Like, you have to like be ready. You have to like be sharp for that. And that's gotta be like hard to do.
Well, luckily his first fight, 27-second KO. He's a 125er. So,
oh wow, okay.
And he's got 27-second knockout power. And then second fight, knocked a dude out in the second round and handled him the first round. So
that sounds like
he's a real deal. If you're not on his wagon, now's the time to get on it.
Now's the time to get on. Well, let's talk about your wagon for a second, because I feel like there are so many people out there, like, unless you're from your area in Oklahoma, like a lot of people don't know about you yet. But like I said, I'm a Tapology brown belt. I know all. And I've seen you fight. I've seen your fights. They're hard to find, but if you dig hard enough, you can find them. And I look and it's just like, I feel like you really haven't, at least here's what it looks like. You might have a different opinion. It doesn't look like you've ever really been like challenged in these bouts that I've seen. It just seems like you're competing at a completely different level. And there are a lot of people that would look at your fight history and say, this guy's only gotten out there 4 times. Like, yeah, he's a fucking beast, but like going pro after 4 fights, like talk about jumping into the deep end. Can you explain a little bit, Jared, about why did you know this was the right time for you to make that move from the amateur scene to becoming a official professional?
Yeah, 4 fights, not a lot of fights for sure, but I think it's experiences. Some people need that fight experience. They're not comfortable in the cage. You can look at my fights and you can tell that that's not the case. I'm very comfortable in the cage. And then, as far as the other experience goes, I teach 40 hours a week, or so, counting private lessons and kids classes and all the other classes that I do. I drive down to Oklahoma City 3 times a week to train with Aaron McKenzie and Rafael Lovato Jr. Some of the other guys down there, David and Jesse and those guys. I'm training I've been training myself in Stillwater. I have a striking coach in Stillwater that I'm training with. I have grappling coaches in Stillwater that I'm training with. There's a lot of unseen experience that I'm getting outside of the cage. And then also, I don't feel like I'm being challenged as an amateur anymore, and I'll never want to be looked at as a sandbagger. And I don't feel like an amateur. I don't think like an amateur. I don't train like an amateur. I don't live like an amateur. My life is martial arts, and my life is based around training and fighting. And, I'm ready to get paid for that, for one. And also, I want to get my academy out there. I want people to know what ECS martial arts is, where it's at, and who runs it. And, I want to put some respect on my name. So.
Hey, absolutely. I can completely understand where you're coming from. And you last competed in March of 2021. For me, as a guy who is like a brown belt in Tapology, did I tell you I was a brown belt in Tapology? Did I tell you that? Anyway, for me, it's a long time. It's just somebody like, yeah, I'd like to see that guy fight again. It's been a long ass time since you've been out there. And that's me saying that. For you, it's got to feel like a freaking eternity since you last went out.
Yes and no. I spar all the time. I'm always getting good new guys to get good looks at. I never like to even give anything up in a sparring round or anything like that, so to me, it's the same pressure, going and sparring a guy that they bring in for a camp, or, I went and trained out in Las Vegas for a little bit. I went and trained out in Arizona at Fight Ready for a little bit. So went out there, got different looks, got to train with guys that are super high level, UFC caliber guys. Obviously, I'm training with Aaron McKenzie all the time, who's a UFC caliber guy. And the fact that he's not in the UFC is absolute sham and absolute bullshit. But, we can save that discussion for another time.
Yes, we can.
And, so it's like, yeah, it's been a long time since I've been in front of a crowd in a cage and stuff, but that's where I thrive the most at, where I felt like I needed more reps at was just in the gym. So, I've been using the year and a half off. I can't wait. I can't wait, honestly, because I've just taken my game to a completely different level. And also, one thing that I love about my fighting style so much is I never look the same twice in a fight. And it's really going to show August 5th. I can't wait. I can't wait to go out there and mix it up. Show everything I've been working on. So it's gonna be awesome.
It is gonna be awesome. And we're only talking about the fight itself is only 2 weeks away. Really, really close. I can only imagine how excited you are. These LFA fights, I know that I only happen to find out about them. It's like, oh wow, there's gonna be one like in 2 weeks. I'm like, oh shit, okay. Like there's all these things that happen behind the scenes, and unless you're paying attention, LFA, CFFC, like all these different promotions on the regional scene, like they pop up all the time. When did you first hear that LFA was interested in going to Oklahoma? And how did you like put your name out there? Like, yo, I'm trying to fight on that card. Like, how did that work?
So, I'm blessed to have Aaron and Raphael in my corner and on my team. Obviously both of those guys being champions for LFA, they get the calls, they get the text messages, all that good stuff. So I just came in the gym one Saturday. They said, hey, they're having this LFA card in about 8 weeks. What do you think? I said, get me on it. I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
That was that.
Next thing we know, we're on the card. So yeah, I've had plenty of time to get ready, and train and stuff. I've known about it for, I've had a full camp.
So you throw your name in the ring, you throw your name in the hat, like, yo, give me a guy, I'm ready to go. They spit a name back out to you. Your opponent, Ryan Hoover, for people who don't know who he is, he has a very impressive fight resume, particularly on the amateur scene. He did really, really well. I'm looking at his Tapology page right now. He has a reputation. It looks like his jiu-jitsu looks like it's pretty good. He's got a lot of submissions under his belt. Is this a guy that you're familiar with in the Oklahoma scene? Had you heard about this guy a little bit before, prior to agreeing to fight him?
Not really, but that's just because I don't really keep my ear to the fight grindstone of Oklahoma. I can not really care any less about most of what's going on in the fight scene in Oklahoma. I support these guys. I guess I like seeing some of them whenever we get to the fights and stuff like that, but I kind of just keep to myself. I'm kind of a loner, and I just don't like sit around on Instagram all day and see what the other fighters in Oklahoma are up to. I know a little bit about where he trains out of, Clinch up in Tulsa. They've got a great history of being a good gym and stuff like that, so I know he's going to be a skillful opponent, and he's going to come out with some good stuff. I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most, is just a guy with some rhythm and some tempo and some timing. And,
Here is one thing, though. This is me, Tyler, saying this, not Jared. So let's get that out of the way. I look at him and I see a guy who's very talented. I'm not going to shit on this kid. He's 23 years old. So he's young. But I'm just going to be real. I look at the guys that he's fought against. That's great that he's armbarring all these dudes, but they don't have a lot of experience. The one guy that has a decent amount of experience, he lost to. And again, I'm not saying that means he's shitty. I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that is kind of a trend. That is something I kind of notice. And he made his professional debut earlier this year. He won by split decision. So that's an indicator that it was super close on a different day. Judges may have seen it a little bit different. He's going up against you.
That fight was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he fought a guy from Albuquerque, New Mexico. So there wasn't any, it's not like it was some home cooking for the other guy.
Yeah, and so that's a good point.
I'm not saying it was or wasn't or anything like that, but I do know, they don't call, Tulsa is
there's a good old boy club. I know what you mean. I said it. I can say what I said it. Maybe I'll edit that out. But
Oklahoma's a small place, so I try not to ruffle too many feathers. But I guess if your feathers are ruffled, come talk to me about it. We can dry them off or
but it's a good point. They're bringing in a guy from out of town. We'll leave it at that. You can read in between the lines and come to whatever conclusion you want to come to.
The fight game isn't new. It's not. There's no new strategies.
No, yeah, absolutely. And looking at this guy, hey, great. It's a successful debut, but this isn't me just talking to hype you up. I'm just being honest. I'm confident he hasn't seen somebody like you before. And so I'm a little surprised that this is actually going down. You're older than him. You may not have as many bouts of experience, but you have a deceptive amount of experience. And me, I'm kind of a nerd and I like to do homework on a lot of people. And I certainly would be doing a lot of homework, and I'd be stalking you if I would want to know what I'm getting into. I don't know if this guy does.
Yeah, I mean, and then one thing that people can never account for, and I train with middleweights. I train with big boys. And one thing that never fails and people cannot account for is the power that I carry in my hands. And when people feel it, there's a change in energy that you feel in the cage, and they don't want to engage anymore. And, you know, I don't care how tough you think you are. I don't care how tough you know you are. There's only so much that the human body can take. And I guarantee you, if you stand in the pocket with me, you're going to sleep. So,
well, you have the credentials to back that up. And I've seen you fight, and I've seen you just suck the will out of people very, very quickly. And you've only like sat on the bench a couple of different times. Like, you find a way to like end fights very, very soon. And not to put pressure on you, I think it's going to be more of the same when you fight your opponent here in a couple weeks. I'm really excited for you because
plus elbows. Now I can throw elbows,
right?
man. I've been waiting.
Right? Elbows, knees, you can leg lock. I mean, you can fight unchained. That's got to be really exciting for you.
Yes. I hate limitations. I think limitations are, that's just not how I train anyways. I don't train with limitations. I train, you know, very like free flow. I train to, you know,
I know
incapacitate. So I can't wait.
You are a very violent, a very skilled man. I wanted to ask you really quick before I let you go, winning your professional debut in your home state, that's going to be a unique feeling for you. Like, that's one of those things where you've probably been thinking about this. Well, I know there's no probability about it. You've been thinking about this like your entire life. And for it to only be 2 weeks away, that's got to be very exciting for you. Jared, can you talk a little bit about like just winning in your home state of Oklahoma, winning your professional debut? That's a rare opportunity. Not everyone gets something like that. Not everyone gets to fight for a promotion like LFA on UFC Fight Pass. Like, that's a lot of stars aligning in your favor, my man. So that's got to be like kind of surreal. Did you ever plan on your pro debut being something like of this caliber?
Absolutely. It's you know, manifest destiny. You have to manifest. You have to think about the things that you want. You have to force them into reality because, and this is something the rest of the world needs to listen to right now. There's nobody going to do it for you. Nobody's coming to do it for you. You got to do it yourself. You got to make it happen. You have to force it. You have to have so much will and willpower behind what you want that it's impossible for it to not happen. And since the very first fight that I had for Tough Enough in Las Vegas on a massive stage like Tough Enough, I knew that that's what I was supposed to be. I knew that's what I was supposed to be doing. That's where I belonged, was on these big stages in front of people. Not so I could be a Conor McGregor and piss up a bunch of people off and be an a-hole, but so I could spread the word of martial arts, and I could tell people that, guess what, you can be a bad MFer and be a good person at the same time. You know, they're not mutually exclusive. You can be both. And you know, I can't wait to win this fight for my kids' class. You know, I love my kids' class. I can't wait to win this for them. I can't wait to win it for, you know, all my boys in Stillwater, all my boys at Lovatos and OKC. You know, I just can't wait. So
I can't wait for you to have that experience either. And like, one of the things that like makes me so interested in MMA and why I think it's the best sport of all time, hands down. Like, I don't have the attention span for anything else. I can't watch football because they've taken all the defense out of it. And I used to like watching people get really murked.
You can't even hit anyone.
And you can't do that anymore. It's really boring. And it's like, it takes 3 hours to watch a game. That's stupid to me. I don't have time for that. But what I like so much about MMA is, while it is not a sport for everybody, because not everybody can compete in this sport. And I'm not trying to like throw shade on the masses. That's just a fact. Only a very small segment of the population could do this at even an AMI level.
Freaking crazy. You have to be an idiot to fight in MMA.
Yeah, like at any competitive level, right? Like, if you're willing to like go into a cage, I don't care if you're fighting on a fairground in front of 100 people. I don't care. Like, you're cut from a different cloth if this is something that you're willing to do. But with that being said, while not everybody can compete, this is something that everybody could do in some capacity, right? Like, you don't have to run a 4 flat 40 in order to be like a mixed martial artist. Like,
absolutely.
You know, like there are all these things that you look at, like, oh, well, to play basketball, you have to be 7 feet tall. To play football, you have to run a 4 flat 40. Well, that's not really true about fighting. it's all this. It's dedication, and it's like investing time, blood, sweat, and tears into this. And if you do that, like, you can be a fighter without having to be a fighter. I know that sounds kind of hippie, but I really believe that.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, fighting is definitely an instinctual thing. You know, people, you know, if you tell you get a little kid angry, you know, what's the first thing they want to do? They want to hit something, you know, so it's something that's primal. It's in our DNA, you know, it's to fight. And so, you know, it's just tapping into that side of it, but also having something to fight for, you know, you have to have a reason to do it. If you're just doing it for,
You have to be wired different, man. Like, if you're not like all in, this sport is going to eat you up, and it's going to spit you out real quick. Like,
for sure.
Like, I can't. I've seen so many people in the short amount of time I've been doing this podcast. I've seen so many people come and go in this sport, and that's only by doing this in a year. That's not shit. So it's like,
and you got to have the right people around you, man. Some people just don't have, you know, you look at some of these guys that are getting in trouble and stuff, it's because they got no one around them that's telling them you're being an idiot. You know, stop doing what you're doing. You're being an idiot. You're about to throw it all away.
Yeah.
And, you know, they just have yes men and stuff around them, and that's a problem. You know,
I think the biggest thing that separates like the people that can really like stick and make a meaningful impact in mixed martial arts are the people that have this squared away. If you have this squared away, you know, everyone's a badass. Like, if you're doing this professionally and people are like, yeah, we're willing to pay you money to fight, like, you're a badass 100%. Right. But like, what separates the good from great, it's all this, really. At the end of the day, It's like, how bad do you want this? Like, to what extent are you willing to put your mind and your body through for this? And it's like being a Navy SEAL. Not everyone can do it, but like, you look at Navy SEALs, they look like normal people at first, but then it's like you start talking to them and you figure out like what they had to do to like become a Navy SEAL. Well, it's just like being a fighter. It's like, don't say you can't do it. It's like, are you willing to do it? Are you willing to endure? And if you are, who knows what could happen?
Yeah, and you know, that's like my favorite saying is, you know, don't be great, be legendary. You know, and I tell an easy example of this is, you know, kind of what I tell my boxing class. Anyone can throw the jab cross hook, right? You could show that to Joe Schmo on the street. Hey, do this, and he could throw a jab cross hook. But it's the details, and it's the footwork, and it's everything in between, all the extra stuff that makes it work. Mm-hmm. And it's the same for being a human being. You know, anyone can be alive and, you know, just kind of think about themselves and do what it takes to survive and just be kind of a leech, you know, and even be successful, even not be a leech. Anyone can, you know, just be self-serving and, you know, be very successful. And that's great. But what are you doing to help the people around you? You know, what are you doing to change your community? What are you doing to really make the world a better place? You know, that's being legendary. People don't remember the greats. They remember the legends, you know, and the legends are guys like George St. Pierre, nicest guy of all time. Anderson Silva, you know, talked a little bit of trash, but great dude. You know, Randy Couture, same thing. Great dude, badass dude, you know. So
Platinum Mike Perry, that'd be another one. You know, Colby Covington, that's another one. Skyscraper Struve, that's another one. So we could go all day.
So,
Jared, I want to give you the opportunity before I let you go. I know that you have a lot of people that you're working with. We've talked about your gym, but I do know that there are other people behind the scenes that support you to make the Bad News brand a possibility. Who are they? Who are the people that you need to shout out before I let you go?
I mean, shout out to, you know, myself. No, I'm just kidding. But shout out to my boy, Michael Dugan. He runs the academy for me when I'm gone. You know, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to do all the training and traveling that I do. You know, Aaron, Raphael, Jesse, David, all the dudes down in OKC that are training with me day in and day out. And then, you know, that's pretty much it. My team's small right now. I like it that way. I only keep people around that I trust 100%. I only keep people around who are, you know, willing to communicate and have a conversation. No yes men, no none of that stuff. So I feel like I've got a great team, great people around me right now. Shout out to those people.
I am excited. August 5th. Make sure that you check it out. His fight will be on UFC Fight Pass. So yeah, just I don't know, get on UFC Fight Pass if you don't have it. I don't really know how you would even be watching my show if you don't have it. So yeah, get with the system, get with the game, right? So Jared, as always, man, I appreciate your time. And did I mention I am a Tapology brown belt? Did I talk about that yet?
Oh, no, we didn't talk about that.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I will give you my secret guide, my secret tips on becoming a Tapology brown belt. I will tell you after we stop the record, because I'm not giving away my content for free. You guys can go fuck yourselves. You're not getting it for free.
I'd be instructional.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'll tell you about my instructional DVD series that will be coming out soon. But for the rest of you guys, make sure that you follow my guy Jared here. Make sure you tune into his fight. He's a very, very special fighter. I'm saying that in all sincerity. He's a guy that I've seen grow in the short amount of time that I got onto him. I like what he looked like at the beginning of his career compared to just his last fight. It was a huge leap, and you're about to see another huge leap here in a couple weeks. Make sure you check that out, and we'll try to do a better job the next time I have him on. So be well. Peace out.